this right here, the second half, is the Gang Minute. Let's talk about some network stuff, and then we're gonna get into like our vision of one of the things we like to do to raise money for the network, be able to actually pay, have maybe a payroll, and make dreams happen and do a real geeky convention. As I've mentioned in the first half of this vlog, my personal geektastic vlog, my personal reflections. I like geeky events, but Walker StarCon is becoming more of a commercialized event. So it's not so much about the fans as it could be, but they could work on that. Again, I'm not knocking anyone, but before we get into that, I don't want to go off on a rant on that just yet. Just a heads up. Starting November, you're gonna see some interruptions. So this Saturday, November 1st, Time Army Tea Time will be taking time off. Horseplay Live should continue as usual. So whether I can stream it or not, at least Obi will be on site to be able to stream that. Sunday Dose will continue as usual. An Apostolic Outlook will continue as usual. There might be some delay in getting the MP3s, the audio podcast uploaded to the feeds. Which you go always check those out at geekyantics.net, geekyantics.net/podcasts. And then what else? Oh, and Rebels Cast, our new show on Friday, which I haven't even put in a schedule yet. It won't always be weekly and won't always be on Twitch, but it will be an audio feed at least. That's Ali Kennedy's baby, and he's swamped because he does 42 Level 1 and Starting City Radio. So it might be another thing like Pixelated Pites where they might just do it bi-weekly or whenever possible. So stay tuned for that. In the pilot episode, or I guess you could call it episode 1. Again, that's Ali's decision what he's going to do with that. But in our pilot episode, I was there with Ali Kennedy and Ross Shaw from the UK. And we talked about Star Wars Rebels, episodes 1 through 3, and bonus material thereof. Great show, fun podcast, a lot of bantering. So I will warn you there, we derail quite a bit, but it's fun, and I hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you think. But so there will be those interruptions. I might be gone for a week or two while I get finished moving out and getting situated, internet set up, my little studio set back up, and playing catch up. So it's gonna be rough. I'm not looking forward to moving, and taxes are like the worst things in the world. Well, beyond the really bad stuff, but first world problem wise, those are like things I don't look forward to personally, and I'm sure I'm not alone there. But let's talk about this vision, because a lot of people were suggesting it's like, man, you guys should do a convention. I think you guys could do it right. Right now, Geeky Antics Network is me, and then there's a bunch of independent contributors. There's no one on payroll, no one, that's partner in the network, and cause I can't afford it. We're mainly operating non-profit, and it's hurting me because there's expenditures of time and money. And I'm thinking about ways. I have to think about ways to generate more funds through this. So I could do it more. Otherwise, I have to stick to my consulting work, and it takes me away from the network stuff. So it's a delicate balance. This is why I understand why Walker StarCon seems like a cash grab now, because you have to make it worthwhile. All that time spent, all that time dedicated, But again, there's a fine line between being profitable and just being greedy, and it's a hard thing to do, especially when you see so much of a demand in like a niche like The Walking Dead or zombies, right? And as popular as those things are, it's still kind of a niche, which is interesting. There's lots of demand and not that much content. There's always more demand than content. That's always a good place to be. So I would love to do a geeky convention, and not built around any particular show or comic or video game, but just have a little bit of everything. Like, how cool would that be? Like, have Doctor Who fans show up, and have The Walking Dead fans, and have little gaming areas, like tabletop gaming areas, do live podcasts. Man, so many things that we could do that would be great. Having meetups built into it. Like that's one thing I was hoping we could do more of. When I looked and on hashtag WSC Atlanta, hashtag The Walking Dead, hashtag TWD Family, all these different hashtags, there were people tweeting to them, but not that many people doing it live, and it was always the same few people. And it was interesting to me. It feels like people do not employ social media as well as they could, and that's a shame. Because if you really employ social media effectively and make people aware, hey, we're going to be tweeting out on this, any announcements, any last minute schedule changes, any meetups we do after the event, we'll tweet it out on this hashtag. That's very effective use of social media, and that wasn't done. Now, this is something I didn't mention in my personal reflections, but one of the things that bothered me in the media, as media and as a social media marketing guy, strategist, and I'm actually certified in that stuff, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. I like to think I do. They had a cancellation on Friday, and they apologized about it because Michael Rooker couldn't make it. He got stuck doing work, shooting for a show or a movie that he's doing longer than he expected. Then he got stuck in traffic. There was no way he's gonna make it in time. So they rescheduled his panel for Sunday, but we didn't find out until Sunday that it was rescheduled till then. It felt like there was no kind of communication, and it felt like they didn't give him proper professional courtesy and the fans proper courtesy. And if they had just used Twitter, and other social media properly to do that. Twitter is such a great real-time communication tool. I'm very partial to it because use the hashtag. It's like having a virtual chat room, and it's an ongoing conversation. So we try to do that, doing hashtag TWTT and all these other hashtags I mentioned before, TWD Family, WSC, SC Atlanta, The Walking Dead, all these things to keep that buzz going and meet new people. And we met people through those tags, but it's just like, it could have been so much more. So I think one of the things, and I'm probably going to talk to Eric and James about this, I would like to help them with that if they're open to it. If you create that buzz around social media, and really do it well, the things you could do could be so exciting, because you really should enable the fans to be able to get together in meaningful ways during these conventions. After all, Walker Star Con started as a fan meetup, so why not keep it going that way? Let me just check the chat here real quick. All right, we're good. But so people were urging us. They said, hey, it would really be awesome if there was a Geeky Antics, convention. That'd be exciting. And I don't know if we're there yet, but I'm sure that with all the context we have, all the people we know, we could get like a Will Wheaton and Felicia Day to show up. We could do YouTubers and Twitch streamers and all kinds of neat stuff like that. And just make an amalgamation of all the things we love here on the network and all the things that we cover. Doctor Who, science fiction, creative writing, video games, indie games, retro games, tabletop gaming, The Walking Dead, selfie, whatever we're into. So many things that we could do there. Arts and crafts. Gosh, it could be so cool. So that's something, hey, that might be a goal for a year to 3 years, realistically. And don't be surprised if we do a Kickstarter for that. I know people kind of like, another Kickstarter. But I'm just thinking about it like that. That's how Walker StalkerCon really got its start, through Kickstarter. So I'm thinking like, hey, if we we really break down the dollars and cents of this. Hey, this is gonna go to pay a staff. So we have outreach, and we have public relations, and we have people that coordinate stuff, and team leaders that are core to the team and are fully vested in the experience. People that will regularly do write-ups and podcasts. I'd love to do that. Give some incentives to our independent contributors too, but have an actual staff, a core team of 4 or 5 people that we could actually have on a payroll. That'd be great, because most of us, networks and media outlets, we're mainly on a voluntary. We operate on a mainly voluntary basis, or paying people per diem or per piece, per project, through consultants and outsourcing stuff like that. But it'd be cool, like I'm saying, like if we could do, it makes sense to do a convention because it's something where we could constantly get out there, and incorporate all our Twitch streaming, our podcasting, and our the write-ups and all kinds of neat stuff. Build out that ecosystem and build a convention into that same time. So, thank you for everybody that's been encouraging that. I mean, that's something I've been thinking about it for a long time. I would love to do that, and I'm trying to think like, how could we do something that's big enough that it's worth doing, but small enough that everybody feels like they're really involved, and it's manageable. So that's kind of where my head is at. Like, there's something there. I'm sure we could do this. Would a generic geeky event be enough? Does it need to have a theme? I don't know. Maybe it just be a generic event, but then every event will have specific themes. That's something we could do and build a brand that way. Geeky Antics Con. And the antics thing, the shenanigans, it's our way of saying, hey, we like to have fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously. And people really responded very well to that branding, including a lot of the vendors I talked to. I keep talking about the vendors, but they were just so awesome, and they got the vision, and they didn't realize, hey, I see what you guys are doing. You're trying to make something by the fans, for the fans. So a convention would be a natural extension of that. I would personally like to focus more on vendors and meetups and panels. Autograph events, I feel they're cool, but they detract from the masses, the majority. Because what you do is you have these really hardcore people that just, they figured it because they pay all this money, they want to be number one and put in front of everybody, and they kind of earned that, right? But then it's just kind of rough, because, for example, during the Norman Reedus and Andrew Lincoln bromance panel at Rockstar Con Atlanta, they had a lot of people that said, a lot of girls that said, hey, it's my birthday today, can I get a hug? And this is like half of the stuff. And when you have fans that are not hardcore, like teeny boppers, they're just more like there because they care about the subject matter, they care about the creative processes. I don't want to say those are the true fans, but people that are really just curious about those more topical discussions, getting those conversations going. I think that's where you have more worthwhile things for everyone, because people ask the right kind of questions, and it keeps the conversation going, and that creates good kind of hype, and it builds stories worth sharing. Sharing a story about people asking for hugs one after another is cute, but there's nothing exciting for that if you're not like super hardcore into the actors or the celebrity aspect of it. And that, for me, on a personal level, it's like when you think about it, celebrities, they poop just like the rest of us. They put down pants or underwear. They're just normal people that are just making a living through unusual means, perhaps. And once you meet enough famous people, the novelty wears off. So it then comes back to the fans. So I'm not gonna ramble too much about that, but it's something I'm gonna keep you thinking about a lot more, especially in the coming months. If you have a vision of what you'd like a convention to be, if you want to share things you hate about conventions, or things you love about conventions, leave a voicemail. Right down there you see 206-415-4987. Again, 206-415-4987. Share your feedback. And I'm going to try to think of ways, again, we can make social media significant in this, to make this something where everybody really has their input. Surveying people, asking, maybe what kind of things you'd like to see more of, with what themes, what shows, what kind of topics excite you, what your favorite podcasts are, what your favorite Twitch streams are, what appeals to you about those things, and trying to take those trends, those data points, and finding the commonalities and building something out of that. I have a pretty good idea. Like, if we did a convention today, I'd love to have heavy Doctor Who, because it's very pop. Some people say it's mainstream, but it's still kind of a niche thing. It still has kind of a cult following. I still run into people that have never even seen Doctor Who or even heard of it, which shocks me. But it's cool. It's got like that weird thing. The Walking Dead is pretty similar. It's the biggest show on TV, but it's still like this weird like little niche because of the zombie fans and a lot of times zombie fans and the horror fans that have been just following the cult phenomena forever. So we can have like zombie events, we can have the Doctor Who events and attractions, do the live podcasting. I think live podcasting is so cool. Have some kind of Twitch events too. You know, maybe some little mini gaming tournaments, some casual tabletop fun. You know, a lot of social events. Like I like to, like with tabletop stuff, I would like to do social games where you actually have an opportunity to talk to people, take your time, get conversations going. Like really deep strategy games, I don't think lend themselves well to like a convention or huge gatherings because it becomes too competitive. But when it's something fun and casual, you could have conversations, have laughs, and that makes great stories, you know, to share. So, you know, I'm thinking about it, it's like how can you take advantage of event space, give everybody equal, as close to an equal opportunity to enjoying the event to the maximum. Those are kind of some of the things that come to mind. I'd love to see more cross promotion and collaboration across podcasters. I still say the podcasting is still one of the most collaborative platforms out there. Twitch streamers sadly aren't there yet. A lot of Twitch streamers, they won't do podcasting, they won't collaborate with other Twitch streamers, they won't even blog or do any real significant social media stuff. It's like they only exist in Twitch. And I'd like to help change that because I think Twitch still serves a very important role in geek culture, and it's severely underused. Same thing with YouTube. I think like YouTube is almost like Facebook now, where it's its own little world, and people go to that ecosystem, but they very rarely go off of it. So you meet a personality through YouTube, get into them, but you won't visit their Facebook page, you won't visit their website. You know, is that an opportunity to platform or the content creators? Maybe a little bit of both. But I like to create that world, that event where people can get to know each other, make connections, collaborate, and not feel like they're dirty about it. Like, you know, hey, can I just shake your hand? Hey, can I take your photo? No problem. Because you build that into it, but you also set some ground rules so people don't take advantage of that. And they realize, all right, during this time, they got to do this, so respect that, and then you'll have your opportunity. That's the thing. I think you have to facilitate certain opportunities to create those moments so that people don't feel like they're getting bombarded when they go to their hotels or they go to a restaurant or a bar and they bump into fans. You know, because some people do get out of hand. I remember Saturday night at the Westin in Atlanta, a bunch of cops came over because apparently someone was like, there were some people rioting or something, and then I don't know if someone threatened to commit suicide, but they had a helicopter come out. It was crazy, and you know, that's the thing about us passionate geeks. Sometimes we go from being passionate to being obsessive, and that's a scary place to go. So let's see what BFT says here in the chat. He said he really liked going to PAX East to meet different YouTubers that he watches. No lines since they're just wandering around. Yeah, to me that's the fun stuff. Meeting the people that have that free time, that could talk to you and just hang out, and you don't feel like you're being rushed along a line. That's the thing. I think like, the most exciting part is the people you meet that don't have lines, that don't have booths, that could just take that time out. Or they set up events where you could naturally meet people. And PAX obviously has gotten huge. I mean, you got PAX East and you got PAX Prime and all these other little micro versions of it. And, you know, Penny Arcade started from humble beginnings, but it's huge. You know, I'm not saying huge networks or brands can't do something worthwhile and intimate. But, you know, there's a certain spirit that I like to see in a convention where it just feels like, hey, I matter here. Everyone feels like, if you can make it so that almost everyone, you obviously can't please everyone, but if almost everyone could come out of there feeling like I matter, I'm not just a dollar sign, that to me is a successful plan. And that kind of stuff right there, that like BFT says, you know, meeting YouTubers, meeting Twitch streamers, just being able to just hang out, say, hey, I met PewDiePie, or I met I don't know, Total Biscuit. You know, I think that's cool. That's a cool story. And then, hey, we had some pints together. That's exciting. You know, and it's not because you're being a fanboy. Like, to me, again, I don't personally get it when people go, oh yeah, I got an autograph. Oh yeah, I shook his hand. But I like it when you meet those people that are kind of a big deal to, you know, they are a big deal to some people, but to you, you may be like, oh, cool story, bro. But it's more like, hey, you're famous, but you're still a normal person, and you hung out, and you're all. That's more exciting to me. Like Travis Love was so cool when we bumped into him. He's the guy that plays Shumpert on The Walking Dead. He was one of the governor's, you know, muscle, let's say, the bowman, and as cool as can be. Chad Coleman, real stand-up guy. He shook my hand, you know, gave me a man hug. The guy's big too, but he's just a big teddy bear. He's just such a nice guy, you know. I joked around with him. I said, hey, we need to petition that they don't kill off Tyrese, because, you know, you're what the group needs. You know, you could handle business, but at the same time, you still care, you still have compassion. And, you know, at the end of the day, The Walking Dead is a human drama. It's a soap opera, as Robert Kirkman himself says. Jesse Cox, I love Jesse Cox. Yeah, he's a funny dude. Yeah, man. Maybe one day I could be as fun as those guys. You know, that's the thing. Maybe that's why I don't understand the hubbub about famous people, because I don't have the dreams of being famous. You know, I just want to be able to do the things I love and be well known enough that I could keep doing it and make a living from it, and spend more time with my family and not have to worry about tomorrow. It's stressful, you know, when you have to worry about your family, virtual or real. You know, it's a constant struggle, and then it takes you away from, you know, doing your creative things, your pet projects, and pursuing your dreams. So I think a lot of conventions start off like that, honestly. People, they have a pain point, they have a passion, and they follow it through. They build these events to make their dreams come true, and also at the same time help the dreams of others come through. But then eventually some folks, and not the majority of us possibly, you know, arguably, they just start pursuing too much of their own dreams, and everybody else is kind of like just along for the ride. And that's bad. You know, you don't want to just get so greedy that you forget about the people that helped you get to where you're at. And I hope that as much as we grow, we've already grown so much, the Geeky Answer Network. We're not a Geeky Sundry. We're certainly not a Nerdist, and nor we don't want to be. We're not a Polaris, but we're experiencing great growth and sustainable growth. And I think that gradual growth will help us stay humble and focus on the fans, remembering the struggle we had to go through to get there. And one of my dreams is to be able to make this a platform where the little guys could have their voice heard, and they could get a piece of the pie. That'd be great, you know. Because getting to me is like, how can you get excited about someone else's success when you're struggling, you know? And that hurts sometimes when you see someone like, hey, how did this guy get so famous? He's not saying anything special. He's not saying anything unique. He's kind of a douchebag, you know? And I want to reduce that. I want people to say, hey, this guy, I remember when he first started off, and he was all about the fans then. He still is now. He's still the same guy he was when he started off. And, hey, the guys at Geeky Antics helped him get there. You know, that's the kind of thing I want to create. So a convention where you could create new friendships, build really memorable stories, and you know, collaborate, network in very natural ways, you know, because sometimes, you know, I'm not a shark, so I see people that are just super aggressive. They run up to the stage after a panel, or they chase after famous people, and they're being really strong-arming things. They're like passing pamphlets and business cards everywhere, you know. There's a certain point where that gets to be too much, because you have to think about it. You're taking away from other people's time when you're just being so aggressive. People that might be a little more conscious about the time of others and letting everyone have the opportunity, or people that may just be shy, you know. So you gotta be careful with that. Like, be fair and balanced. It doesn't have to be 50-50, you know. You can never get things perfectly balanced, but realize that, you know, there's other people that come with the same goals and intentions as you. And again, from an event perspective, if you facilitate that, you know, in your platform, in your events, in your system, whatever you want to call it, then there's less of this being disappointed stuff. That's the key thing. That's the key thing right there. Managing expectations. If you say, this is what we're about, this is the vision we have, all right, and this is what we want it to evolve into. This is like where we see ourselves in a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And this is what we want to be our core principles along the way. I think when people do that, there's less bitterness and more stories being shared, and people spreading your brand and spreading that message. That's the kind of stuff that excites me. So every time I do things with Geeky Antics, I want to create those very authentic stories, and just have everyday people doing amazing things. That should probably be our tagline. You know, I call it right now it's serious geeks, silly fun, and that's a big part of it too. But how about everyday people doing amazing things? Because I think geekdom, that's what it really comes down to. The passion that you have for things that others might find mundane, or they may not see the attraction in. But then you share that passion, and all of a sudden people go, wow, I really get it now. Or you attract other people that are like-minded and may have felt isolated before, and then they realize, wow, you feel the same way that I do about that. And that's exciting. That's always great when you connect with people like that. It's like, you know, I'm glad I'm not the only one that felt like that. Like, so, I had a conversation with people at the con, and a lot of people, you know, my wife thinks David Tennant is creepy. She does not like him as a Doctor, so she's not a fan of the 10th Doctor. And so that's the guy between Eccleston and Matt Smith. Yeah, you know, David Tennant, he's got the crazy eyes. And I mentioned that to a few people, and I said, you know, one guy in particular, Chris, one of the vendors there, he said, thank you, that's what it is. That's what I can't stand about him. He's got these crazy creeper eyes, and I can never get into him as the Doctor on Doctor Who. And you know, so like that simple little observation that you share created a great story, something that I could always talk about, and I hope they always talk about. Say, hey, I talked to Yomar over at Geeky Antics. I talked to Yogi, whatever they end up calling me, and then we had this great conversation about that, and that keeps whether you realize it or not, it keeps the relationship going, and it puts you in front of other people. They might reach out, you know, Chris and Angela might tell people about me and the network, and we might have new partners, new sponsors, new friends. Just from a simple little anecdote, a little simple discussion, a small revelation that to us as geeks was significant. You know, hey, David Tennant has creeper eyes. Oh, so that's what it is that bothers me about him. So, fun stuff. But anyway, guys, I think right now I'm going to close this off so I can get this uploaded to YouTube. You'll have the first half, my Geektastic vlog, up on my personal channel, youtube.com/YogiZilla, and then the Gang Minute over at the Geeky Antics channel on YouTube. And we'll be doing a write-up to follow up with this. It keeps the conversation going. I hope you guys would join in on the discussion. One of the things I do want to talk about is, you know, how do you feel about conventions? Do you feel they're just a mere cash grab? Are they really about the fans? Or are they somewhere in between? What would you like to see in conventions? You know, do you prefer a smaller event like a meetup, or do you prefer something massive like an expo? A lot of great things. I like to really get everybody's input on that, because that helps us as we evolve this network and realize where we should focus more of our attention. And that stuff excites me. I'm into you know, as a marketing person, I'm into all the insights and whatnot. But anyway, I do need to wrap this up, because shortly here we will have one of our Sunday shows, an Apostolic Outlook, which is a different kind of show. It's probably our only truly G-rated show. The Time You Want Me Tea Time, we keep it pretty much PG, most of the time G-rated. But, you know, it's for general audiences, everybody's welcome. A little spiritual message. If you keep an open mind, maybe you want some hope. Maybe you want to, you know, you need help dreaming bigger. You need a little motivation, a little inspiration. Check it out. An Apostolic Outlook is at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's 11 a.m. Pacific. I guess it's worth saying what time that is, GMT. That'd be 7 p.m. in London. And you know, again, it's not. I wouldn't look at it as a religious podcast or a Sunday sermon. I think it's more about advice, guidance, and stuff like that. So check us out. And then tonight at 9 p.m., the Sunday Dose with OB1X2, my partner from Horseplay Live, and Mud721, who's a great gal. We love her. So excited about the new time slot. It's much better for everyone, because usually I like sleeping on Sundays, but today I didn't. Go figure. And who doesn't, right? That's our 1 day of rest usually. And after that, probably I'm hoping I could do a Retro Friday Marathon. BFT, you excited about that? Retro Friday Marathon? A little drinking and playing some NES games. I think that could be fun. And BFT and a bunch of other people suggested Karnov, Rygar, Strider, stuff like that. So hopefully, all things go well, we'll do that. And then I'd like to keep that going through, doing some significant streaming this week through like Tuesday. And then I'm going to start packing up, cleaning up, and streaming here and there. But we got to really get ready for the move. Not looking forward to it, guys. And I'm going to miss you guys. I'm going to say that on a personal level. I'm going to miss you guys. But again, don't forget, there's going to be tons of stuff going on the network. We got the Gaming Death podcast. We got Horseplay Live, our official talk show radio. Talk radio show if you want it. That sounds better. And interactive geek experience. We do that live, and we want people involved. Leave voicemail messages. Get over our Facebook page. All the information down there. You can leave us email at geekyanswers.net. If you love Time and Wimey Tea Time, our show dedicated to Doctor Who, sci-fi, fantasy, zombies, and everything thereof, creative writing. TWTT at geekyanswers.net. There's gonna be tons of stuff going on. TWTT will be taking a little bit of a break as Stan and I go on adventures. Sadly, I'm gonna miss that fun, but keep the voicemail messages coming in and the tweets and all that good stuff, Facebook and all that. We have Pixelated Pints on YouTube on Monday nights. That's live as well over at the Pixelated Pints channel, and then we have the audio feed over on geekyanswers.net/podcast. There's gonna be tons of stuff to keep you guys busy. I would love to do more streaming on a personal note, more gameplay, and hanging out with you guys is always fun. So yeah, BFT said, heck yeah. So BFT, you keep me on point, man, and let me know what other games you'd like me to play, and I'm gonna try to marathon run it at least like 3 to 4 hours, and maybe try to go into the morning. Who knows? We'll see. I might have to recharge my batteries before then. I might even do a little Hearthstone gameplay this afternoon. After I get all this stuff uploaded. So I do need to check in with the family, see what's going on there. And that reminds me, I'm gonna go ahead and check to see who's streaming right now. So we'll host some people, and then I like to spread the love, yo. All about spreading the love. Trying to think if there's anything else to mention here before I forget. I always feel like I'm forgetting something because I ramble on and on. But yeah, definitely keep the messages coming. Like I said, I really will miss you guys. It's gonna be a long week or two. Ugh. First world problems, yo. Trying to see who's streaming right now. I could host someone on my channel. Is Obizianka streaming? No, but Applejack is streaming, so that's cool. Ooh, and I'm still coming down with the bug. Convention bugs, they are real. I'm trying to fight that off because I can't afford to be sick right now. So I'm probably gonna host Applejack here on my personal channel. Keep everybody warmed up until I start streaming this afternoon. So yeah, that is the plan. Let me get out of here, guys. Don't forget geekyanswers.net. Go there. I'll be updating the schedule as much as possible to reflect things going on with the shows. But like I said, everything's gonna pretty much run as normal except for Time and Wimey Tea Time, and then I'll be calling in remotely via mobile. To Horseplay Live, unless something really crazy happens. Hopefully not. Keeping my fingers crossed. And again, keep that feedback coming. Keep an eye out for more reactions to Walker Stalker Con, The Walking Dead, and just talking about conventions that we're all in. We're gonna pave the way to this dream of having a big meetup and perhaps a fairly big convention. I'm excited about doing some cool stuff. So keep those ideas coming, the feedback coming. Let's keep the conversation going, guys. But for now, this is YogiZilla, aka Yomar Lopez, aka Yogi, your friend and geek at arms. That sounds very belligerent. Your fellow geek, let's just say that. Fellow Whovian, whatever you want to call me. Fellow Walker Stalker. Love you guys, and I'll see you again very soon. Peace.